Hi everyone. Welcome to the most amazing Top 5 YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Top 5 ancient creatures that still exist. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. 5 crocodilians. Watch any documentary about crocodiles and you're almost certain to hear the line, "They have gone unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs." That isn't exactly true. While crocodilians as we know them today, the alligators, gharials and crocodiles that live at the water's edge, have been around for about 85 million years, they belong to a much more diverse and disparate group of creatures that goes back to the Triassic. Crocodilians are the last living representatives of the Crocodilomorpha, an even bigger group that originated over 205 million years ago. They shared the world with the dinosaurs and came in a startling array of forms. Some, like the 112 million year old, approximately 40-foot-long giant Sarcosuchus, looked quite similar to their modern cousins, but there were also formidable ocean-going predators such as Dacosaurus, small forms with mammal-like teeth such as Pachysuchus, crocs with tusks and extra armor such as Armadillosuchus, and lithe, land-dwelling carnivores such as Sebecus. Modern crocs do look ancient, but they are just the remainders of an even older and stranger lineage. 4. Velvet worm. Velvet worm is something of a misnomer. Stretching a quarter of an inch to 8 inches long, and flanked by rows of stubby legs along their smooth bodies, these invertebrates aren't worms at all. They belong to their own group, which is more closely related to arthropods, and these inhabitants of the forest undergrowth are part of a much, much older lineage that goes back to one of the greatest evolutionary explosions of all time. In 1909, Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution Charles Doolittle Walcott discovered the fauna of the Burgess Shale, exquisitely preserved creatures from a 505 million year old sea. Many of these animals were unlike anything seen before, and the true affinities of many of the weird creatures from these deposits are still being debated. Even so, at least one creature looked familiar. Ischia, an invertebrate named by Walcott in 1911, closely resembles velvet worms and may be close to the group's ancestry. Even though this form lacks some of the specialties seen in modern velvet worms, such as a unique nozzle system that squirts an instant web over prey, the Cambrian creature shared the segmented, stubby-legged body plans with living forms. Frustratingly, the soft bodies of velvet worms don't fossilize very well, so no one is entirely sure when they emerged onto land for the first time. But, if you know what to look for, you can still find them crawling through the leaf litter of tropical forests from Australia to South America. 3. Cow sharks. Most living sharks, from nurse sharks to great whites, have 5 gill slits on the side. But there are 4 species of cow sharks that have 6 or 7 gills, a feature thought to be retained for millions of years from some of the earliest sharks. These deepwater, 6 and 7 gill sharks are considered some of the most archaic of all shark species. The evolutionary story of sharks is primarily one of teeth. With the exception of rare fossils that preserve remnants of soft parts, teeth are usually all that is preserved from cartilaginous shark bodies. An articulated specimen of the early shark Doliotis problematicus pushes the shark's existence back to at least 409 million years ago, and they are probably even older than that. The lineage to which today's 6 and 7 gill sharks belong, however, is more recent. Based upon isolated, saw-blade fossil teeth, paleontologists think cow sharks have existed for at least 175 million years. These deepwater sharks are opportunistic feeders, taking whatever they can, and may have had a stable role as a deep-sea cleanup crew, scavenging on the bodies of marine reptiles during the Mesozoic and shifting to marine mammals after the time of the dinosaurs. We know very little about the appearances of these ancient sharks, but their roughly bladed teeth hint that they have been consummate deep-sea carrion feeders for millions of years. 2. Horsetails. Long-lived lineages of animals often get most of the attention, but there are some survivors among the plants, too. Horsetails must be some of the greatest. These archaic plants are often found growing in patches along streamsides and other wet habitats. Place a dinosaur toy among them, and the prehistoric model will look quite at home. The reason why horsetails are considered so ancient comes from 2 lines of evidence. Living horsetails are unique among plants in that they reproduce via spores rather than seeds. Other plants likely gave up this method of reproducing millions and millions of years ago, but, old though it may be, the spore technique makes horsetails resilient and very difficult to remove from places where they are considered weeds. Horsetails also have a very deep fossil record. Though they make up small parts of forests now, enormous horsetails once made up entire forests in the days before modern trees evolved. In fact, Much of the world's coal, which originates from 360 to 300 million-year-old Carboniferous deposits, are the remnants of horsetails such as calamites that could have grown to be over 100 feet tall. Lice. Not all the great survivors are charismatic. Some of evolution's greatest success stories are parasites, but few have stuck in there longer than lice. Although louse fossils are rare, in 2004 paleontologists announced that they had found a 44 million-year-old feather louse that was strikingly similar to lice that live on the plumage of waterbirds today. The record of lice probably goes back even further. Last year, researchers used the few known louse fossils along with genetic comparisons between living lice to determine when major lice lineages evolved. Feather lice, in particular, seem to have split from their hitchhiking relatives sometime between 115 and 130 million years ago, right when little mammals were scurrying through the Cretaceous undergrowth and feathered dinosaurs were flocking around on land. Since feather lice evolved to feed on early birds and feather-covered, non-avian dinosaurs, they have had to change little to keep up with their hosts. Thanks for watching.